You ever randomly remember something from your childhood and think, whatever happened to that? Well, that's exactly what happened when I started thinking about some old candies we used to have as kids. Some of these were everywhere when we were growing up, and then one day, they were just gone. No big announcement, no warning, they simply disappeared from store shelves. So today, we're bringing back 5 candies that a whole generation grew up with that are now gone. And let's see how many you remember. Landing at number 5 is the Fruit Stripe Gum. This one probably had the coolest designed wrapper of any gum on the shelf. Its bright colors, the zebra mascot, and those rainbow stripes made it almost impossible to walk past. And somehow, every single time we'd convince ourselves the flavor was going to last longer than the last pack. Spoiler, it never did. Most people would chew 2 or 3 pieces at once, hoping it'd last a little longer, and somehow, it still disappeared almost immediately. Even with all the jokes about the flavor, it stayed around for decades before finally being discontinued in 2024, and a lot of people were genuinely disappointed to see it go. Sliding into number 4 are the Butterfinger BBs. Looking back, these were honestly such a simple idea, but somehow they felt even better than a regular Butterfinger. Instead of one candy bar, you got a whole box of little crunchy bites that were almost impossible to stop eating. You'd tell yourself you were only having a couple, and before you knew it, the entire box was gone. They first showed up in 1992 and quickly became one of the most popular candies of the decade before disappearing from stores in 2006. Fans have been asking for them to return, and I've yet to think that's going to happen anytime soon. Right in the middle of our list are Shock Tarts. If you ever ate one of these, you already know exactly what happened next. The second you popped one into your mouth, your whole face would scrunch up from how sour they were. And somehow, that made everyone want another one. They were one of the original candies that turned eating something ridiculously sour into a challenge. They were first introduced in 1965, before being renamed Shockers in 2002. The Shockers version eventually disappeared from store shelves around 2015, and they're still one of those candies that brings back memories as soon as someone mentions them. And our runner-up is Altoids Sours. These weren't just another sour candy. They came in those little metal tins that somehow made carrying candy around feel way cooler than it probably should have. The raspberry, tangerine, and citrus flavors became favorites almost overnight after they launched in 2004. Then, just a few years later, they quietly disappeared from store shelves in 2010. What's crazy is people still talk about these online today, and some have even tried recreating the recipe because they miss them that much. And finally, taking the number 1 spot is the legendary Wonka Bar. If you watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory growing up, you probably wanted one of these more than any other candy in the world. The whole idea of buying the same candy from the movie just felt magical. Walking into a store and actually seeing Wonka Bars on the shelf made it feel like the movie had come to life. Even though they came back a few different times over the years, they eventually disappeared again, with the last major production ending in 2018. And they're still one of the most requested candies people wish would return. Now I've got to ask, which one of these would you bring back tomorrow if you had the chance? Or did we leave off one that you still think about every time you're walking through the candy aisle? Drop it in the comments because there's a good chance it'll end up in a future video. And if nostalgia is your thing, you've definitely come to the right place. We've got plenty more childhood memories waiting for you right here on this channel. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next one here on BackThen-Central.